Hi, everybody. My name is Cynthia Sanchez, and today I'm going to be talking to you about sales. What is sales? Sales is very important. At just about every job that you're going to have in your lifetime, it's going to involve sales in some way, shape, or form. This could be, involving pitching ideas to a manager, trying to convince a client to buy into your proposal, product, or service. And learning sales is very important, especially for people who want to be successful in their careers. What is sales? Again, it involves everything that happens when a salesperson engages with a potential prospect. And there's four definitions or possible ways for someone to engage with a prospect to sell a service or product. The first one is to initiate a conversation for a new buying process. So the client hasn't really started looking yet. Or two, you can help a buyer through their existing buying process. They've already started looking, and you're just kind of starting that guiding point, bringing a buyer's process to a successful close. So they have already decided, and you just kind of are helping them commit to the sale. And four is ending your involvement in the process and moving on to a better opportunity. So this involves being able to recognize when the opportunity no longer serves you and when it's time to move towards the right one. And it's a very, very important skill for salespeople to know when to invest and when to walk away. So what are the types of sales? All salespeople share core competencies. So like generating leads, asking questions, making presentations, and handling objections. The specific type of sales that you choose to maybe work with in the future can look different depending on like the industry, the customer, or the product that you are dealing with. And so I really like this reference with sports and sales. Just like an athlete would choose to play a sport that suits them best, salespeople choose roles that kind of play to their strengths and their interests. Next is sales environments. There are two that are discussed in the chapter, which is B2C and B2B. Business to consumer deals with directly selling products to a consumer, an individual, for their own personal uses. And then B2B, business to business, deals with selling products and services from one company to another. And then strategies and processes can differ depending on the type of buyer that you are dealing with. So it's important to know what kind of sale environment that you are in. There's also different types of sales methods, which is the first one is going to be selling directly. You work face to face with the buyer and you guide them through every step of the process completely from start to finish. And the other method is selling indirectly. So you are not necessarily dealing with that person yourself. You are using other companies, third parties to expand your reach and drive sales. It's also very important to kind of know what kind of value that your prospect is looking for. And there's three main types of value proposition. So the first one is a transactional sale. This is a scenario where a buyer already knows what they want. They don't need product education. They just want to find the best price and the best service. The second one is going to be a solution sale. So buyers know when they have a problem, but they don't know necessarily what the solution to that problem is. So it's your job as a salesperson to educate them on their solution options and kind of guide them towards the one that's best fit for them. And the third one is going to be a consultative sale, which is the most complex. So it's intricate because the buyer doesn't necessarily know that they're having an issue. If they do, they aren't really wanting to act on fixing it. And so it's your job as a salesperson to educate them about the risks and the solutions, and then to kind of just inspire them to act, whether it's now or later. And it's also very important as a salesperson to be able to gather information. A good sale is only as good as the information that you collect. So this is very important that you do your research before you have a discovery meeting, which is your first serious meeting. And I'm sorry, during the meeting itself. So the goal of this meeting essentially is to understand the prospect situation, their challenges that they may be facing, and understand what decisions need to be made and how you can help those decisions be made. Again, do not improvise. It's best to be prepared and to know what to listen for, what kind of questions to ask, etc. And A great way to do this is through spin selling, which was developed by Neil Rackman in 1988, which involves situation questions. So you use this to establish context, understanding the customer's current situation, environment, and benefits. I'm sorry, in context. So a question would be, an example would be, what's going on in your business right now? The next is going to be problem questions, which is when you really dig into the challenges that that customer is facing. And a question to ask would be, what problems is this causing for your team? Next would be implication questions, which are extremely powerful because they help you help explore the consequences of the problem and kind of let them know, okay, these are the repercussions if they are not dealt with. And so a question would be, how will this issue impact your operations if it isn't addressed? And the last one is going to be need payoff questions. So this is when you shift the conversation from the problem to the solution. Your goal is to help the prospect envision a better future. And a question to ask would be, would it be helpful if we implemented a system that solves these issues? Very important is effective targeting. So people buy to solve problems, and targeting helps figure out exactly who has issues or the problems that you can help solve. And so there's three ways to kind of target and help you figure out who you want to help after, you've gathered all that information. So there's an ideal client profile, which you'll analyze, which describes a detailed description of the perfect customer that would best benefit from your product or your service. There's buyer personas, which are groups of titles and roles that would find value in your products. And then there's a buyer's journey, which is similar to the AIDA funnel, which is awareness, consideration, and decision. All of these three combined gives you a map of who to target and what exactly to say to them. And thank you so much.